Hello and welcome to the second streamed game of the Nightfall Crystal League. This is Dietvert here with Eki, and we are going to be watching Raging Arcanists versus Wildfire Eagles. We just entered into Champ Select. A little bit of a delay, unfortunately, but now here we are.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Little bit of a delay, but no big deal. They are going to be losing one ban for the delay, though. So we'll probably see that coming through. Quinn already banned for, is that Raging Arcanists on the blue side? And LeBlanc taken away from Wildfire Eagles, or by Wildfire Eagles, rather. Oriana is the second ban for Raging Arcanist, so looks like they're taking out some of these mid laners. Quinn, though, has been an absolute terror in pretty much every lane for about 3 patches. Hasn't really been touched too much except for this most recent patch. Aatrox is the next ban from Wildfire Eagles, another lane bully champion that they do not want in the hands of somebody on Raging Arcanist.
Yeah, I've seen Aatrox banned a couple of times. Since he's been reworked, I guess he's feeling a little bit stronger, but ultimately I don't think he's that impactful that he deserves a ban. So it's likely just a straight out targeted ban at Clearview, who I believe has played it more than once in solo queue.
Right. The Aatrox is not as high of a priority as he was before the rework, which is super weird that Aatrox wasn't played for 3 or 4 years, and then they buff him to a point where he's strong enough that people know that Aatrox exists, and then they rework him, so then people have to relearn the kit. There is that ban that we were talking about, the no ban. So Wildfire Eagles will continue the rest of the pick ban phase as normal, but that one they will not get Morgana banned away for Raging Arcanist and a first pick Rakan.
They're definitely going to tunnel now. So either Eagles has to pick away Zaya, or they just forfeit the Zaya Rakan lane. And Zaya Rakan is a very strong, very lane bully, independent lane that still manages to scale. So it's not really something you want to be giving away for free if you can avoid it.
Eagles pick up Tom Kench as their first lock-in, so they're going to be denying something, and it looks like they're going to be denying people getting onto the Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger recently has been known for being very oppressive in the bottom lane. We'll see which lane they flex that little donger into, and now Raging Arcanist looking to pick.
Great thing about Dong or Kench combo is that the turrets still shoot even when you're inside the belly. So
That's
you
right.
pick up Heimer and his DPS just stays the same. Trundle in the jungle, and then there's the Zaya. Yeah, you don't want to risk it getting banned out in the second rotation.
That's right. Yeah, we expected it. Zyra Khan. Solid combo. We've been seeing so much weird stuff in the bottom lane in this meta, but Zyra Khan is a bottom lane that we have seen for a very long time now because of how strong it is. Riot put the built-in synergy for a reason, and it's still very, very strong. That will be going into the hands of the bottom lane of Raging Arcanist. The response pick, though, from Wildfire Eagles in the jungle looks to be a Kayn.
Kayn can bully Trundle out a little bit early with some high damage and the ability to kite him around, but in a one-on-one situation, I don't see either Kayn or Trundle really being able to kill each other, especially if he goes red Kayn, where they just sit there and they'll sustain each other out. And there's a Fizz. No Fizz for Jam and J.
That's unfortunate. The Fizz just got some more buffs, I think. This patch should be pretty ridiculous. Or actually, did that come out this patch? The AP scaling
It was
on his
last patch, I think. They
was it?
buffed him slightly. Yeah.
Yeah, they made some changes to him. I know they reverted the W and he was in a weaker spot. I still think that he was very strong, but then got another round of buffs. So I do think that Fizz and Ari, both the bans that we just saw from Wildfire Eagles, are going to be a couple of the premier picks in the mid lane.
And they're showing a lot of dislike of the mid lane assassins here.
Yep.
No LeBlanc, no Fizz, no Ari. Those are probably the top three AP assassins in the mid lane. You don't. They haven't picked a tank yet, but you still probably don't want to pick an AD assassin if you're on the side of Raging Arcanist. You're going to be a little pigeonholed, and then they pick like a Malphite, and you're going to be trouble.
Zoe is still on the table. Ziggs locked in for Wildfire Eagles. That can once again be flexed around pretty much anywhere. The Dinger can go mid bot. Ziggs can go mid bot. We'll see where those positions actually shake up. Kershey has got about 5 more seconds to lock in. They still need a mid laner and a top laner.
Yep, and it looks like Eagles is leaving their top lane pick for last. They're really prioritizing the counter pick. Trundle could also be flexed top or jungle or support. He is most likely a jungler, but you never know here. And last pick, top lane. I'd expect to see them. It's tough picking into the Eagles team right now just because, yeah, like you said, it could be a Donger. It could even be Donger top. It could be Donger bottom. It could be Donger mid. Like, he's got a lot of lanes. So, Kled doesn't really have a lot of bad matchups, but it does look like they will be putting Ziggs or Heimerdinger bottom with Tom Kench.
I think the Poppy here is a really good choice, especially into the Kled. Kled dashes through you, trying to get some of the damage on, and then Poppy can further that dash by knocking you potentially into turret range, something like that. There's a lot of room for outplay here with the Poppy and a strong pick overall. We do see the Twisted Fate locked in for Jammin' J, and that seems a little weird to me because Wildfire Eagles seemed like they wanted to take away the assassins from Jammin' J, and then he comes up with the roaming team-oriented Twisted Fate.
TF does still contribute a lot of damage, and those every other second gold cards are nothing to sneeze at, especially when Poppy and Tom will both be pretty heavy tanks, but the carries on that team are not particularly mobile. Though, of course, you don't want to jump into the mess of timer turrets, so.
Yeah, Raging Arcanists look like they have a more straightforward composition to try to execute on. The Kled can press the go button, Twisted Fate can press the go button, Trundle has the pillars here for the CC, and of course Rakan engage, absolutely ridiculous. So there is a lot of engage for Raging Arcanists, and it's just interesting composition, a little bit more of this meta composition from Wildfire Eagles, where they have the Heimerdinger, the Ziggs, the Poke, the AP, Tom Kench, to swallow them up and make sure that that DPS comes through, as well as the Poppy and King coming out on the top side of the map. I think that Raging Arcanist drafted something that's a little bit easier to pull off, but I have been wildly surprised by the interesting compositions in this meta.
Yeah, really, Eagles drafted a siege comp. Ziggs and Heimer are both very strong in the siege. Tom Kench and Poppy are both very good counter engage. So they're really just setting up a way that they can, push in front of your turrets, push fast with the Heimer Ziggs, push towers down fast with Ziggs, and then you try to engage on them, they just kind of disengage and run away. So in a siege, it's really going to come down to can Raging Arcanists get a good engage without being completely blocked by the kind of Poppy ult, the Poppy knock up, and the Tom Kench eat.
And we'll see what they can get going for themselves. We got 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the spectator delay. You're looking at these compositions, Holy. Do you think that the draft went in favor of one team over the other?
I think Raging Arcanist has the most well-rounded draft because if Eagles falls behind with that comp, they're going to have a lot of trouble getting back into it, whereas the Arcanist comp has a much more kind of release valves, much more ways to team fight it out and still do things if they're behind. So really, I feel like I would give the edge to Arcanist just because of that flexibility, but if Eagles gets any kind of lead, they have the option to just shove it down mid, run down the towers, burn them down, and then game's over 22 minutes in, and your team fighting doesn't matter.
That's really what stands out to me from the Wildfire Eagles is they have the Ziggs, obviously with the satchel that can knock down the turrets that get low health, and then you have Heimerdinger who is always pushing, literally always pushing, and the Poppy doesn't do too bad in lane either. So you have priority in these lanes. You can rotate down, knock people away with the Poppy, and then just siege down the turrets. Even though there's so much engage from Raging Arcanist, they may not be able to get that off just because of the tools that Wildfire Eagle have. They could disengage, take down a turret, reset, do the same thing over and over again.
Yep. TF, however, does provide a good counter to that comp because he can enable some very good wave control on the side lanes and then still manage to make it into the, say, mid lane if they're sieging. similar to Kled, who can ult in. So they at least can do some work to control their waves and not just be completely at the mercy of the other team. It looks like we're starting to load in. I'm staring directly at a black screen, as per normal.
Yeah, it happens for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I pray for the one day that Riot pays attention to the spectator client, maybe like a full spectator client rework or something.
Look at this. So we casted a game a day or two ago, and we had Xayah and Rakan both in those, and we never had the Galaxy skins together on the same team.
Ooh.
Now we do. Right there.
There it is.
That alone, plus the Pulsefire TF, I think the edge in skins has to go to Raging Arcanists here. Though, Master Arcanist Ziggs. Pretty cool.
Fitting. For the matchup. I mean, not particularly. We'll see who the Master Arcanist is. Is it the Raging one or is it the Master one that takes it this game? I really do like Core JJ signature skin there on the Rakan. We've loaded onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. And let's get all of these things on. There we go. Let's see. What are people going to do? They could invade here. Neither team has what I'd call a great level 1 engage, but that's never stopped people before. And it looks like Raging Arcanist is going to 5-man, just kind of power, hold the lanes. Whereas they're sitting in a bush. Heimer's baiting it, but nobody's going to walk in, so.
Nah, no way. That is a lazy attempt at a bait, in my opinion. You see the juicy Heimerdinger, but right next to the bush. That one's lazy. Get way out there and see if you can bait people into the mid lane. But honestly, I don't think they're really going for something. It's kind of just throwing the fishing hook out there, hoping that something bites. And if nothing does, no big deal. They still have salmon fillets at home. Doesn't look like we'll get anything, just a typical line of scrimmage from Raging Arcanist. It's the first series from these teams, so it's likely that they may not want to try to go for something where they lose the game based on a level 1 play. They want to play out this early game and see how it goes.
Eagles actually played their very first game earlier today, and they lost that series. So that's another thing, is they're coming right off of a match loss. How does that affect the mentality? It was a 2-0. I was actually spectating it for funsies, and game 2 they actually had a substantial lead and ended up losing in the end. So coming right off of that into this, it'll be interesting to see how they recover.
Yeah, it's definitely a tilter. I wouldn't want to deal with that. And people really undervalue how much the mental fortitude is in these series. I mean, they just got off the back of playing 2 games, both losses, and that does something to you. I know when I'm playing solo queue, and this is much different from that, but if I have a game where I think I should have won and I lost it, I make sure to not jump right back into a ranked game, because you'll still be thinking about why you lost that game and can really distract you from this game. So hopefully we'll see that isn't the case for Wildfire Eagles, but it could be. Trundle is invading onto the red.
Yep, Kled has priority, and Trundle has a lot more health. So it looks like, yep, and Kled and Poppy are fighting here.
Yeah, Slim Prusa really needs to be careful. Kled has so much damage in the early game. Poppy has not flashed. She's trying to get the passive shield. This is a good 1v1 for Poppy. Clearview, though, he's got the pistol. Does another slap, gets a little bit more damage off before she returns underneath the turret. Trundle on the top side of the map. They might be looking for a dive. Skarl is back, but that is such a low health bar. Punned under the wall. Fressa might be able to get it. First blood goes over to the Poppy.
Yep, and Trundle stole red buff away, though, but ultimately it did end up costing Kled his life just a bit, which is unfortunate. I really thought Kled would make it through.
Extended fight there from the Poppy and the Kled. I assumed that Kled would have the advantage in the early fights. Kled's level 1 and 2 are absolutely ridiculous, but here, extended fight in favor of Poppy, was able to pick up the passive a few times, and that shield, you can't underestimate it. That was enough to be the difference in that 1v1.
And Kled couldn't remount Skarl very easily because he was his passive was on cooldown. And then TF got flashed mid lane. Kane just kind of lazily ganked in. And then now we're watching the bot lane farm. I think Xayah Heimer is actually not that bad of a matchup because she gets that extended range off of her passive and she can just clear the turrets out pretty easily.
That's nice. I didn't even think about it. I've been thinking of good uh, things to play into the Heimerdinger bottom lane, since I think it's something that you're going to see more and more often. Really not a bad pick, but the Xayah, even with the passive, able to get the quills through and pull them back when trying to take out these turrets, allows for a lot of tools to get these extra roots. We've seen it a few times where Frost has gotten locked up, and the extra damage from Kershey. It's something Heimerdinger you really have to pay attention to. But I always think of Syndra when I think of playing into Heimerdinger, because you can take the turrets and throw them wherever you want. We haven't seen that one come out just yet, but maybe when Syndra's in a little bit stronger spot, we will.
Good trade out of Kled onto Poppy. He got the full Q chain and pull and all of the stacks of his W passive thing on there, so he got a lot of % health damage on. But Kane's coming up to look for him. He does have vision in the river, but Kane can attack from unexpected angles.
And this might be one of those unexpected angles. Diligent Donut being diligent and almost a tasty treat. He gets the big pop of damage from the electrocute, but Kled able to just pistol his way out of there. Doesn't even force any of the summoner spells, but that will give Poppy a little bit of time to free farm, and she needs it. Down 11 CS already in this matchup. Has the 1 kill lead, but really is falling behind in CS. Needs to catch up.
Yep, and it looks like they're collapsing onto top lane. Come on, directed camera. You can... Nope, they backed out. It looked like they were about to fight up on the top side, but then everybody left, and we're staring at bot lane because they're poking each other.
Yeah, this is the Heimerdinger, right? We've seen the camera focused in on pretty much the bottom blue side outer turret, and between that and the bottom bush, because that's where Heimerdinger's going to sit. He's going to push the wave in over and over and over again. Really annoying to deal with in the bottom lane, but if they can wait this out, if they can wait until a level 6 where they get support from the Kled or the Twisted Fate, maybe even both, they should be able to get in there and do some real damage.
TF is 6, but it looks like he used his ultimate already.
Yeah. He may have went back to lane
with it.
Maybe. I don't recall seeing that. But it is on cooldown unless that's...
Oh, it might have been during that skirmish up in the top river that everybody disengaged out of.
Yeah. Twisted Fate pops the ults, threatens them, and then there it goes. That's a long cooldown from Destiny, so will not be at the disposal of Twisted Fate for a while, and that means Frost and Tanic should feel comfortable to just keep pushing in. Trundle on the bottom side of the map. Kane is matching. We'll see who can get to the bottom side first.
That Ocean Dragon is going to be a lot more important than normal. Early Oceans are always good, but Kane is having some issues.
Be careful, getting chomped up, and Cosmic goes in, try to get the pop-up, but he can't get it. Kershey is the target. Frost needs to be careful. Tanic already using the gray health. Cosmic so low. Kane may be able to get him on the backside. Flashes through, but misses. Here comes Hondi, gets the flash bite. One more shot would be enough, but the heal saves him. Here comes the big Mega Inferno from the mid lane. Picks up one, and now Kershey forced to flash away.
Right on the edge. If they had gotten that one last auto onto them to kill, to get the... Oh, here comes Kled.
Clear view on the Kled, charging in, but needs to face 3 members of Wildfire here, and they disengage successfully. Poppy, meanwhile, pushing a large wave into the top lane. Net huge win for Wildfire Eagles.
And Kane did end up dying, but Trundle died at the same time. If Kane had died and Trundle had gotten his passive health back, I think they could have carried that fight for RA, and they would have been in a winning position with the Trundle regen. But, quarter second here, quarter second there.
Yeah, League of Legends, the second game of inches right behind American football, and you see it over and over and over again. It's these small things that happen that can really influence the game. And Poppy trying to bully Hond with the level advantage, but smiting of the blue buff gives Trundle level 6. Won't be able to walk away from that. Poppy has caught up in CS. I mentioned it a little bit earlier that Poppy was falling behind, but now there's 2 on the top side, blocked away. And Kled can't get through. So that's another reason why the Poppy is a good pick into the Kled. With good timing, can block the engage.
Yep, and they're very heavily reliant on dashes for their engage between Rakan and Kled. So looks like there'll be another fight in the top lane. Here comes Kled again, but Trundle is there if Kled stays alive.
Diligent Donut, it could be a 2v2. Trundle going to be a little bit slow. So much damage already onto the Kayn. Here comes Twisted Fate's got the yellow card out, and a nice bite from Trundle. Gets the first kill of the fight. Slim Frusa needs to be careful, and he is not careful enough. Goes down. 2 kills in the top lane for Raging Arcanists.
Yep, great positioning on the map from Trundle to be there for the counter gank, and obviously TF and his global presence. Ziggs was starting to run up, but you're never going to beat a TF ult to the top lane.
Nope, and TF will have teleport available for himself pretty soon as well, so every lane needs to be aware of what the Twisted Fate is doing, and Ziggs wasn't able to even push that wave into the turret. Now it's just getting, but sometimes if you know you're not going to be able to match with the Ziggs, you may be able to chip down this mid lane turret, but now he needs to be careful of this Trundle chipping down his health. Sushi Man is the target. Han gets another bite. Red buff takes him even lower, but Ziggs is able to get out of there with the use of the Satchel. Frost, nice bomb, but he's knocked up by Cosmic, eaten up by the Tom Kench, spit back out. The focus is on the bottom side. Frosty's doing what he can, but he doesn't have the damage. The Micro Rockets pick it up. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Sushi Man goes down to Jam and J. Jam and J on Twisted Fate, trying his best to kite, has the double buffs, should have another card available in a second. He's got the yellow, and now Kled is here. Clearview secures the kill. Poppy, nice stun into the wall. Clearview is tanking the turret. Runaway goes Skarl, and now they just force in underneath this turret. Poppy needs to be a little bit careful, but TL Frost on the backside. Jam and J's the target. Turrets are enough. Frusa is the one who picks up the kill, and they pressure even more forward in the mid lane. They do not want to dive this one, though. Great damage from Frost, who has quietly got himself 2-0-3.
Yep, he picked a lot of those up recently. That was just a very extended fight. I feel like there are opportunities for Raging Arcanists to take their win and walk away, and then the fights just kept on going.
Yep. That's a common theme we see in 5v5 amateur environments. The teams are communicating a lot, so they are like, oh, we're here mid, we can do this, we can fight, and then they continue fighting, and then the other team's like, oh, they're staying mid, we can fight, and then you just overlap and keep fighting over and over again. I prefer that to no action at 11 minutes, but it can get a little fiesta-y. Right now, we are pretty much dead even 12 minutes into the game, and you talked about the importance of this Ocean Dragon. We still haven't seen much priority from either team on that.
Yep, especially as this transitions into a siege game as the laning ends. Ocean will matter, but neither team really wants to start it because there's been a lot of brawling happening, and yeah, they really... Whichever team ends up realizing that once we have a win, we should just keep it, we'll end up doing a lot better. Kled's fallen behind a little bit, though, even with those kills. Especially now that Poppy has doubles.
I mean, oh, that is tough for Clearview to deal with. Frusa forcing Skarl away, and now the wave will be crashing. Might even be able to threaten a dive on that Poppy. Pretty tanky, full health. Goes for it, gets the stun in, and gets the knock up, pop up, and locked up. There goes Kled. Nice kill from the Poppy solo lane on the top side of the map. Now Frost trying to do as much damage as he can. Forced to flash away from the Trundle, but TF is here. Great timing from Tanic. Forcing the flash away, spits him out too. Good damage from the huge Electro Grenade. And now Kayn is trying to get in onto Han. He pops out and gets the damage. That's a kill onto Trundle. Now Kershey is the next target. Micro Rockets land. Jam and J is the focus from Sushi Man. And Diligent Donut tries to get the damage, but a secured kill from Heimerdinger nets a double kill for the Kayn and an overall 4-for-1.
Yep, huge fight there. So the double AP comps are so strong early because when you're clustered up and they're doing all of this AoE damage, you don't really have a lot of MR or your own damage back yet. They hit their spikes a lot faster than a traditional ADC. So RA's kind of been played right into that kind of setup right there where they got hit by a bunch of Ziggs AoE. They were in the middle of Heimer's AoE, and Tom Kench managed to eat somebody and then flash away, so that gets that person well out of range. And now they're in a spot where Eagles is ahead, and so they ended laning now with the tower down, and I expect to see them start rotating to try to pick up those outer towers.
First brick going over to Wildfire Eagles as well as the Ocean Drake, when you talked about being so important in the early game to help them sustain these pushes. Now we do see a swap. Heimerdinger, Tom Kench moving to the top side of the map. Poppy in return will go bottom. What do you think of these lane assignments?
I think Cled's going to have a lot of trouble clearing that wave, but it looks like they're going to just take Herald, which will be not the worst trade for the Dragon, to be honest. Meanwhile, Poppy does a lot better because she can just get onto them.
Yeah, Poppy trying her best to get onto him right now, but it's a 2v1. Brusa may have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. The Ignite used, channels the ultimate, but only knocks away the Xayah, who already picks up a kill. Top lane, though, net win for them once again, picking up the turret, and now they should be able to focus down this Rift Herald, which will help them take out the mid lane outer turret, knock down all outer turrets. The objective focus we identified in the pregame seems to be what Wildfire Eagles are going for.
Yep. Poppy didn't realize Rakan was there. She had no vision on the bot side of the map, and she just went up aggressively. And Trundle is really squishy still right now. He's only on that Tiamat and Balmy Cinder, so he doesn't have a lot of HP. He doesn't have anything like Merc Treads or Tabbies, so you see him getting chunked out really heavily by the Ziggs and the Heimer here. Like a Spectre's Cowl is a necessity for him to rush as soon as he finishes his jungle item.
He is looking super squishy. Here comes the Rift Herald. Should get a big charge in onto this turret, and almost will be enough for the Ziggs to knock it out. The siege worked. They knocked down the outer turret, and another charge from Herald is going to net them about a half health onto this turret. They continue the siege forward. Diligent Donut needs to be careful. Poppy teleporting in just to help the siege. They are 5 men strong in the mid lane. Poppy, no ultimate available just yet, but the poke from the Heimerdinger and the Ziggs is something that Raging Arcanist needs to be careful of, and they are so careful that another turret goes down for Wildfire Eagles. Fantastic siege. They're about 4,500 gold ahead now, and this is only over the past 4 minutes. That was a huge swing.
Yep, that Trundle just got bursted out. He walked up a little on that tier 1 mid tower, the outer, and not really sure why. He was very low, maybe should have reset, but he walked up, he got bursted immediately. And then you're stuck in that 4v5 siege where Ziggs and Heimer can just poke you out and burst you out, and then what are you going to do? You don't want to walk up as a bunch of squishies into that without one of your frontliners.
Mm-hmm. That was well played from Wildfire Eagles, and now that they have the gold lead, let's see if they can keep it. They just have to continue with it. TL Frost going very aggressive onto Jam and J. Maybe able to pick him up. Gold card is enough to stop Frost for now. Micro Rockets just barely miss. Jam and J gets out of there with his life just for now. Here comes Tom Kench. He comes in by himself. He wanted the tongue, but does not find it. And Rakan Trundle with the support. So great escape from Jam and J.
Rockets hit the cloak. Not part of the character model. Doesn't count. But you see some pretty good breakpoints popping out. Heimer and Ziggs are both finished Blue Ludens. Heimer also has the Morellos and a 10-stack Dark Seal. And so they're starting to output a lot of damage. And on the other side, they're also starting to meet breakpoints. So even though the gold is pretty large, TF has his Roa and his Sheen now. Xayah has finished up Stormrazor. And here comes a fight, maybe? Nope. Rakan just jumps away.
For the pick onto Rakan. Rakan very squishy. Frost fishing for a little bit more damage as well. I want to look at that Heimerdinger. 4-0-6 right now. TL Frost going absolutely ham. He's got almost 8,000 gold. The next closest gold is Ziggs at almost 7,000. So almost 1,000 ahead of his teammate. He's doing very well for himself. 142 CS in that, and 10 out of 13 kill participation. Frost is putting up quite the MVP performance.
Yep, and here's that siege they're starting to set up. You're just getting hit.
And here's the charge from Skarl. He's in. Kled, rather big one, though. Huge damage from Sushi Man on the backside. Diligent Donut is the only one even remotely threatened. That's a double kill for Ziggs, and that is not what you want if you have the engage and then just get obliterated by Wildfire Eagles. Looking real rough for Raging Arcanists.
The problem with the engage right now, so they got onto Kane. Kane got one tick of damage back onto somebody else and just went into his ult. Now he's invulnerable for 2.5 seconds. Tom Kench eats the secondary target, and then you've just burned all of your engage, and you are clumped up perfectly for Ziggs. And so Ziggs outputted so much damage there. He got his ult on almost everybody. Almost all of them were in the center. He got the minefield down. He got a Q on, and like that just melts you at this point in the game.
I feel like Heimerdinger really didn't even need to do much there because of how much damage Sushi Man put out. And it was just a very confident counter engage from them. They let the Kled get absorbed by the Kane. So the backline totally comfortable to toss out their skills. And the Mega Inferno Bomb was perfect, landing on at least 4 members, one of them in the center, just ripped through the entire team of Raging Arcanists. Now they get the 4 kills from that fight, and they get another Ocean Drake.
Yep, and now that this siege is almost just too much to handle now. So, while that wasn't the best engage, I can see the reasoning why they did it. Because if they don't pick a fight and win it, they're going to just lose this game slowly. This isn't the kind of game they can stall out versus that team.
They definitely would rather lose quick than slow, especially in this meta where the games are ending so fast. You want to be proactive. Maybe you can get a catch. Maybe you can get Wildfire Eagles to make a mistake. Unfortunately for them, it didn't happen, and Wildfire Eagles was able to capitalize and extend their lead even further. 6.5 thousand gold. Perfect game from them so far. No Drakes taken, no towers taken. Absolutely fantastic. Tanic and Donut looking for a pick onto Han, but it's just going to be the Siege 5 men in the top lane.
Yep, and they should be able to get this tower down for free. Trundle walks up a little far, but they don't engage on him yet. Here comes Kane trying to flank.
Slim Frusa just stepping forward to threaten a potential dive, and that forces the rest of Raging Arcanists off the tower. Ultimate used by Slim Frusa to back them up even further. Frost uses the big turret, and that should go down soon. About 60% health on the inhibitor turret, top side of the map. They may have a pick onto Kane. He's inside Han. It feels good, but not that good, and Han bites him, takes him out. Meanwhile, Kled went for the TP flank and just gets blown up by the Poppy. Hits the buckle last second and gets it. Big engage from the Rakan, knocked away by Poppy, rooted up, and Frost, Sushi Man, Tanic, and Frusa are able to walk out of here. 22 minutes into the game, they have such a huge gold lead. Next focus for them could definitely be this Baron.
I think it has to be Baron. Right there, that was actually...
God,
never mind. I was
damn
about to say, even though it was 2 for 1, that wasn't the worst result for RA. They got a shutdown, they kept their inhib alive, but now they're about to make it a 4 for 1, and that is not the result that you want in the end.
And now they're just having a little bit of fun. Wildfire Eagles trying to pick up the Xayah, chasing her around. Jammin' J did get a turret, the first turret for his team in the bottom lane, but does go down into the gray screen for his efforts. And now 3 members dead for Raging Arcanists. Should be very easy for Wildfire Eagles to set something up around this Baron.
Yep, Baron is the easy win for them. I don't think even if they're tanking Baron, Arcanists can contest this successfully in a team fight. They're down levels, they're down gold, they're down item points, and some of them are actually down and dead. But on the other hand, they don't necessarily need to even risk it. Like you still have the chance for a steal, you still have a chance for a team fight. They could just decide to keep sieging.
Yeah, I guess that's true. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? And the Baron would be a very powerful sieging tool. I also think that it is something that would allow them to bait a fight on their terms. I don't think they're afraid of any engage. I think they say bring it on at this point because they know that they have so much gold. It really doesn't matter whose terms the fight are on. The Wildfire Eagles are going to pick it up unless, of course, the Tom Kench gets picked. He's getting knocked up, already forced to use the gray health. He's walking around in the minefield, but now the focus is on Diligent Donut, who gets taken out. Cosmic and Kershey so low from just the Mega Inferno Bomb, but they are not taken out. It is a 5v4 as the rest of Wildfire Eagles try to continue the siege. Here comes the engage charge, says Kled. He's going to be able to get onto the Heimerdinger, even the flash away. The turrets are here. They're kiting backwards. Han is getting blown up, already ignited. A kill goes down for the Kled onto Tanic, but the rest of the team shows up, and Poppy is looking for something, gets a slam into the wall. Jammin' J is the one, and rooted up, but Poppy is able to walk out of here. The two carries are still relatively full health, especially the Ziggs with double buffs, and they say, screw it, we're going to keep sieging this mid lane.
Double Ocean. But the solution to Tom Kench when he keeps kind of blocking your engage like that is you say, screw it. We're going to engage on Tom Kench instead. You can't eat yourself. But the problem is when you're far enough ahead that Tom is very tanky, that it kind of becomes a problem. Tom is tankier than I believe both frontliners for Raging Arcanists right now. And that's an issue. A combination of levels and items. Trundle might be tankier in his ult. He's been getting good ults off onto Kled. Kane. He's not ulting his own team, unfortunately. And stealing cool, a lot of stats.
That would be so cool. That's the next level Disco Nunu pick. You go into solo queue, you pick Trundle, you walk up into your top lane, sap their stats, and then get out of there so that way they die. I would love it. But I also wouldn't if, of course, I'm the one getting trolled. But sometimes it's fun. We have a Drake coming out in 30 seconds, and that looks to be the priority for Wildfire Eagles. They do have a couple of pinks on the top side of the map, but I would suggest that those are going to get killed by Rakan, as they know the dragon is being started.
If they rush Baron right here, ballsy move, but they could do it. They know they're at dragon. Okay, they're going to pull them off of dragon. They're starting Baron. They're going for it.
Smart play by Raging Arcanist, forcing the Baron, still at about 9,000 health, slowly approaching half. And now Mega Inferno Bomb does not hit anyone, but does force Raging Arcanist away from the Baron. Kled looking to make a charge in onto just the Heimerdinger, but Tom Kent shows up. 3 turrets, 1 big frog, and a tiny little science guy. Should be enough to take out this Mountain Drake. That Mountain Drake is going to make this siege even more scary to deal with. It's also going to make the Baron much easier to take. And these have pretty much been the party bag of dragons that the Wildfire Eagles would have wanted.
Yep, and Arcanists right now are making desperation plays. So Kled was hoping that he'd be able to get on whoever was doing dragon and kill them before the rest of their team collapsed. But unfortunately, it was Heimer, and he was in the middle of turrets. Yep. And now they're going to rotate up. They're going to push out all of these lanes. They're going to do 4-0-1 for a little bit, and then just rotate to Baron.
I think Wildfire Eagles are playing very passively here. They have such a huge lead, and this may be because they're not used to having a lead. Their last series, they got 2-0'd, and they kind of threw their second game. Per you, I wasn't watching, but they don't want to throw again, so they're playing a little bit more safe. They're making sure to do the plays that they know they can get away with, and those plays are Poppy 1v1ing and the rest of the team sieging, because that's been working for him and will continue to work for him for a while. Poppy continues to go on to clear view, but now that Jammin' J has shown up with the gold card, decides he doesn't want to continue on. Turret at about half health. Turret is gone. That's the power of the Ziggs. And pretty ridiculous, but that's okay. Poppy does not use the ultimate. Inhibitor destroyed. Top lane. Twisted Fate was looking for a gold card, but now maybe Baron will be the focus.
Yep, they clipped up. He was looking for somebody to take a greedy path back where they cut along that little outer wall, and they didn't. They moved out as 5. Yeah, Poppy's ult got interrupted by the Trundle Pillar, which is interrupts channels. Great way to use it.
That is.
Played an ARAM once. I was Trundle. I had a Pantheon on my team. He was also on my competitive team. And every time Pantheon tried to ult, I would Trundle Pillar him. It was one of the best times of my life.
I had a duo. I used to play a lot of this was back in the day with the old Twisted Tree line, and I had a Trundle and an Anivia follow me around and just use the pillar and the wall on me whenever I tried to recall or do anything. And it was hilarious for them, I'm sure, but it felt really sad. That's just what that reminds me of. It's a great ability to, I mean, that's kind of been a focus for us in this game, is abilities to troll your team with. And there we see the actual practical usage of it. But if you so please, the Trundle Pillar can be a great trolling option. No Trundle being a troll, pun intended.
Well,
Baron?
Tom Kench too. In an ARAM, if you spawn in fast and eat your people, you can pull them out of base and they can't buy.
Oh man, I'm learning so much today. I need to start playing ARAMs.
They're
That
just gonna
sounds like a
siege
lot
though.
of
They
fun.
don't want Baron.
Yeah, they're afraid of it. In their game that they lost in the last series, was it a Baron throw that did it?
Uh, Ultimately, it was late game team fights, but the situation was a little different because the other team had 4 dragons, including 2 infernals and an earth. So late game, because it ended up going fairly late, those 2 infernals really ended up mattering a lot. This game's a little different. I think Xayah in a confined pit, if she got in a good position to throw through all of them, would still do a lot. Especially, she's at 2.5 items now. Like the benefit to the sieging strategy for the other team is you will always have waves in to farm. So right now they're starting to pick up CS leads across the, well, not across the board, across the lower half of the map. TF and Xayah, which is helping them out in the gold count at least a little bit.
The reason why I mentioned that I think they're playing a little bit too passive is now that they have the super minions on the top side of the map, they have a teleport from Poppy available for themselves. It seems like they could easily make a play for the Baron, or at least force the rest of Raging Arcanists out of the pit. This could be the fight they want, though. Already to engage onto Han. Freeze coming through Clearview onto the back line. TL Frost, though, is the one to watch. Already gets a kill. Tanic's the one who secures it. Next target is the Rakan. Tries to get to a knockup. Kershey trying to do the damage. Featherstorm is out. Pulled through. Gets the root onto Poppy. And Jammin' Jace still alive on the backside. Both the carries doing what they can, but not enough. 5 members, low health, but they pressed forward to get the inhibitor. Now they're trying to focus the Nexus turret. Huge chunk of damage from the Ziggs passive. They don't need the Baron. They know what they need to do. That's siege down these turrets. That's take out this game. Nexus is the next focus. It's about half health. Now they're trying to pick up a couple more kills. Shut down gold going on to Kershey, but that's game 1 going to Wildfire Eagles.
Yep. And you saw the work the Morellos did there. Both Heimer and Ziggs have Morellos. Trundle was in the middle, had a good ult out, and he was regenning a bit, and then he just got Grievous Wound, and then he was surprisingly squishy. But they came reasonably close to winning that last fight. The big turret from Heimer not being touched kind of was a bit of a spot of problems for them, but ultimately they really just needed to not lose the early game in order for that to work for them.
That was a difficult game. When you lose at about the 13-minute mark, that's kind of when the siege got rolling, and right as it got rolling, it never stopped. The Ziggs was just way too potent with the extra Heimerdinger push. The passive plus the satchel was actually ridiculous in the late game. Lichbane passive plus satchel pretty much took out the full tower's health from the Ziggs, and that's the strength of this composition. We talked about it in Champion Select, and they played to it, and they won doing exactly what they needed to. Twisted Fate really tried. He was providing the damage from the outside, as well as the Xayah getting what she could off in these fights, but unfortunately for them, it was just too little too late. The objectives were taken from Wildfire Eagles, and that led them to be so far ahead. There was nothing they could do with their engage comp.
Yep, so we'll be getting into game 2 here in just a second. I am trying to get them to invite us. I think they invite players first, which is, you know, we're the most important people here. I don't know why they don't invite us first.
I couldn't agree more. Definitely the most important people here.
Unfortunately, now we have a bunch of players crowding up the spectate mode, so you can't get in.
Looks like I have to play mid lane for Raging Arcanist.
Yep, you're bot lane right now. You could whip out the, I don't know, the Kali got reworked.
Yeah, I might as well try it. I actually went into a custom with Akali, and she is the kit is nice. I much preferred over the old Akali, but I do think she's a little bit weak right now. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a few games on it, but generally I just think she's annoying, but not crazy overpowered. Zoe is annoying, but also crazy overpowered, and so there's kind of the difference.
I don't think Zoe's necessarily super OP right now. She got nerfed pretty hard before.
Was that this patch too?
That was a while ago.
Probably
She
took
was
that
really
out.
strong for a bit, and then she ate a lot of damage nerfs. And right now, she's still strong, but she's not quite that one shot get hit by a sleep you immediately die style that she was for a while. But the sleep is still extremely strong.
It's just obnoxious to deal with. The area of effect that she has on it when she misses, just so
Mm-hmm.
much control, and then the extra, pretty much can't see Zoe from the fog of war, pops you underneath your tower type stuff. Pretty annoying to deal with. I do agree that she's been toned down a lot since the release, but that's kind of how ridiculous she was on release. Is they've continually been nerfing her patch after patch after patch, and is still the premier pick in high elo.
That sleep, I mean, ultimately, it's a combination of she's not a completely unsafe laner. She has decent burst, and then she has some long range CC. And anybody with
Yep.
strong pick potential who can also hold their own in lane, like the loss of her ability to clear quite as well was actually what I think dropped her out of really tier one, because she can't
Yeah.
wave clear anymore. Really, not as effectively. Her Q doesn't really clear out the back line even. And that means that if you're picking her, you're committing to getting wave clear from somebody else. So you have to pick up either a bot lane AP or somebody like a Sivir or a Caitlyn, somebody you can wave clear out of a different lane. And that kind of loses you a little bit of flexibility. So you have to know what you're doing going into it.
Yep. That is something. I still hate it though. It's kind of like the Yasuo syndrome. Like I don't
Yasuo is
like
actually
when,
a little bit
yeah, I was
broken
gonna
right now.
say, Yasuo's a little strong, but Vayne, Yasuo, Zed, Talon, these are champions that you just never want to see strong, because they have so much outplay potential within themselves that you're like, no, 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 please keep them out of my game. It feels like you can just never keep them down. And right now, Zoe's the flavor of the month to pick on. But I did figure out I'm a huge advocate of mid lane Elise. I'm the only one, I think,
We
ever.
are jumping right into champ select real fast. Um, yeah, Yasuo is sitting pretty at the 66.6% ban rate in
Yeah,
Plat
yes.
Plus. Nobody loves that. Nobody wants to see it.
And not me, not me. LeBlanc, nobody wants to see that either. Or at least the Wildfire Eagles do not want to see that. Get the game one victory and are going with similar bans that they went with the first game, trying to take these AP assassins away from Jam and J.
Yep, I mean, you saw even on TF, he still had a pretty solid impact on the game, particularly in his early game roamings. If you put him on a champion who can dominate lane a little bit more, then it'll be interesting to see what happens. And yeah, they don't want to deal with Heimer anymore. Screw that noise.
Yeah, no thanks. I would veto that one. Heimerdinger and Oriana both banned away for Raging Arcanists. They banned Oriana in match one as well. Fizz is the next band. So once again, very, very similar bans to the first game so far. The only difference is the Heimerdinger for now. So we do know that Wildfire Eagles are going to have to pull out a slightly different strategy this game.
Yep, and I'd expect to see Raging Arcanist maybe try to grab one of those playmakers for Gem and J earlier, something like the Ari. And there's the Ziggs. They don't want the Ziggs picked away. They're going to keep doing that kind of pushing. But I feel like if Jamming J picks up somebody who can make plays out of the mid lane a little earlier than a TF, then that bodes well for them overall, because they really can't afford to fall behind.
Kind of smart if they're going to draft something like their first siege composition, that they're taking away the AP assassins. Talon is something that could kind of get in and blow you up when you are doing these sieges, maybe even the Yasuo, something like that can get you onto the back line. But if they ban away most of the picks that they think Jam and J is going to take into Ziggs, that would shut him down, not allow him to get to the point where he can two-shot the turrets. that's the strategy they wanted to go for. But once again, we see Rakan Zaya going over to Raging Arcanist.
Yep, they like that bot lane. It's a solid bot lane. However, Tom Kench does hurt it a bit in terms of being able to stop their engage and also being a meat shield. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not they actually pick up a top mid laner here for Raging Arcanist. This pick, yep. So they're going to play a little more traditional of a bot lane, the Varus Tom Kench. But I would expect... So that means Ziggs has to be mid lane. You're not going to put a Ziggs top lane. And so...
Yeah, I'm guessing Sushi Man, Ziggs, Frost, Tanic,
Ahri,
Varus, Tom Kench. The Ahri, though, that is a champion I think is actually kind of busted right now. They put more damage into her, or sorry, they lowered the cooldown on the charm, and a while back shifted her power back into hitting the charm with the damage amplification that they took away during like the reworks that they were doing. And now Ahri is ridiculously strong. She is the go-to pick for myself in the mid lane when I'm trying to win, because she just really doesn't have many weaknesses. After level 6, she has 3 dashes available to get herself in or out of trouble, has great wave clear, true damage, and you talked about long range CC for picks. Hers isn't exactly long range, but definitely has the CC for picks available.
Yep. The Ahri is still... She's definitely strong, but she's at least punishable now in that she doesn't have the movement speed on her Q anymore, which means pre-6, it is possible to actually gank her, whereas before it was almost impossible. Yep. And so, yeah, Eagles doesn't want any bruisers for Clearview, and they get rid of Poppy as soon as they banned the Kled. They said, well, you're going to ban Kled? We're going to ban Poppy, because... I'm not sure. I feel like they did pick the Poppy mostly as a response to Kled, though.
I think so, too, and it was a great response. We saw... Slim Frusa doing so much work on the Poppy, getting the kill early on, and then forcing the plays off the rest of the map. Looks like top lane Clearview will get his hands on the Ornn. Fantastic pick, very reliable. Another one of those champions that has kind of been in the meta for pretty much since the release of the champion, because of all the tools, the utility at the disposal of the person playing. And Call of the Forge God is just on such a low cooldown. It's very reliable engage.
Yep, they banned Quinn last game. No Quinn ban this game. They're going to play Quinn. And having already shown a heavy tank in Ornn, Trundle is a great pick into that.
Yep.
You can take away the stats. You can pillar him when he tries to dash away, though you do give him a knock-up if you do that. But the Ornn engage, I feel like, is actually really good for the team fight into Tom Kench, because you'll be able, if you're positioning it right, you'll be hitting multiple people, which means that even if Tom Kench eats one of them, you still hit another 1 or 2 that you can go on. Yeah. And apparently, yeah, Slim is also like a Quinn one trick, so this will be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm seeing that from the Twitch chat, and I'm very excited. Quinn is a pick that I talked about in the first game being pretty darn strong. Borderline OP, depends on who you ask, but Quinn has had a very high win rate in 3 different lanes for 4 or 5 patches, and is just now being looked at by Riot. So I really think that she's been squeaking through, and Slim has probably been abusing that if he has 3K games on the Quinn, maybe even somebody who was pioneering it beforehand. And it's something to really be scared of. You talked about punishing the Ahri.
He's mained Quinn since season 3.
Oh my god. He is a Quinn main for 5 seasons. How good do you feel when your champion is like the champion, like the high win rate, the one that people really complain about? I mean, that's got to feel fantastic for him to get his hands on the Quinn. I think that might have slipped through the draft.
Yep. I mean, definitely the second ban phase. I'm not really sure where the Kindred came from. That might be a scouting pick, but I don't think it was a misclick.
No.
But it definitely is something where I feel like the Quinn is a higher priority in that situation, because Quinn will be able to lane bully. Ornn, if he plays it smart, will be able to just sit back and farm and be a tank wall, but he can't punish Quinn by himself. He can't stop her from roaming. He can't stop her from making plays around the map. He just kind of is a brick wall to try to stop her from taking the tower. But Quinn doesn't care about the tower. She cares about going mid lane at level 6 and just trying to burst down your mid laner.
And then bot lane, and then back mid lane, and then top to pick up a wave, and then back mid lane, then back bot lane. And Quinn flies around the map, literally, and has so much damage. Very reliable damage, too. One of them's a skill shot, but very easily set up by the vault. And Slim Frusa is bringing the ignite for even more kill pressure.
Yep. And you don't really need a TP on Quinn because you get so much movement speed from her ult that you can just fly back into lane. And you don't gain a lot. The only real benefit from TP is to be able to do a surprise jump bot lane from top lane at some point. You don't really need it for lane control. You don't need it to make plays. What I am worried about looking at these comps for Raging Arcanists is kind of their tank shred, because you saw they had a lot of issues. They fell behind last game and they weren't really able to do a lot of damage to Tahm Kench or Poppy. And while they don't have Poppy anymore, they do have the Tahm Kench and they do have Trundle, who's going to be soaking away stats from Ornn or J4. And I'm not sure. Xayah takes a long time to get to the level where she can really burn through a tank. You like at least usually an item and a half to 2 items, unless she's ahead. Really, again, this almost the same setup as last game. It's going to come down to which team starts the snowball. Because if Ahri gets going, Varus is going to be in trouble. So is Ziggs. So is Quinn, for that matter.
Yeah, the charm is actually really good into the vault because the vault places the Quinn back in a very predictable spot. And so if Ahri has decent reaction time, can charm the Quinn, if she's ahead at all, may have enough damage to take her out. And that's something that is a win condition for Raging Arcanists. And last time they had a ton of reliable engage to get onto the backline of Wildfire Eagles, but Wildfire Eagles didn't allow them to really get that, or maybe they didn't pull the trigger soon enough, and the gold lead went in favor of Wildfire Eagles before they had enough gold to even be relevant trying to engage. So I think Raging Arcanists need to be a little bit more proactive in this early game. And with the J4, with the Rakan, with the Ornn, I mean, there's CC available from every lane to try to help secure some of these early kills.
Yep, and people complaining about spectator delay. I want you to know that spectator delay is my favorite part of casting any game.
Top 6, at least.
Those 3 minutes of just dead time, they're the best. But we are loading in. We're looking at a black screen again because Riot's coding. Oh, there we go. Let's see these skins again. Galaxy Xayah Rakan, Arcade Ahri, very cute skin. Darkstar J4, one of the best skins I've ever seen, and that's not just because I love J4. On the other side,
the Darkstar series is absolutely phenomenal.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Varus Thresh for them. Orianna definitely, but Varus and Thresh always seem kind of to me.
Yeah.
But
the
Battle
Orianna
Boss
and
Ziggs
the
is
J4
solid.
are really good. I love the arcade skins myself. I played a lot of Corki back in the day, and his arcade skin with all the chromas is fantastic. We do have great synergy between the mid laners here, a Battle Boss Ziggs and then the Arcade Ahri, so we're looking pretty cool.
Normally the arcade gamer is the one who wins in the end, so foreshadowing, I'll look brilliant if that turns out to be true, and nobody will remember if it's false.
Unless this is the Dark Souls edition of League of Legends, where the boss is much stronger than the player, and it takes you a pretty long time to defeat him, and that may give the Wildfire Eagles enough to get it. Xayah spots out the invade. Diligent Donut not doing anything just yet, but there's the Trundle Pillar, forces the flash from Xayah. Kershey will be without the flash, level 1, and that was pretty much for free.
But Trundle had to start Pillar. Like, he's going to need a heavy leash now. And then at level 2, you normally still don't have Pillar. You'd have QW. So you're probably forfeiting your W then, which is a source of a lot of health and attack speed and clear speed. So he did burn the flash, but at the cost of his own kind of clear.
And we'll see if maybe he wants to do something cheeky with the level 2. Gets a long leash, goes to the Scuttle Crab, comes down bottom lane, knows the Xayah doesn't have a flash, and he will have Pillar for a potential early gank. I agree with you. That's going to be tough for him to clear. Tom Kench helping, taking a couple of shots, and a very long leash from them. We'll see what Diligent Donut does with that, but Kershey without the summoner spell, so maybe they can make a play bottom lane.
Yep, and I mean, you see, so J4 started red topside with a single person leash from Ornn. Trundle's going in for...
Yeah, here's the gank. He's got the red buff already. Jammin' J is the target. A Hond now getting slapped away. Sushi Man trying to support as best he can, but the Ahri already chunked so low. Jammin' J has 260 health. That was a fast gank from Trundle, and you have to expect that sort of thing when you see that the Trundle has taken pillar level 1. You know that he's going to go for the gank, because like you said, the clear speed just isn't going to be there.
Yep, but you see J4 also did the red buff and was right there to back him up. And so Ahri ignited there to get out some extra health. Here comes J4.
J4, he's second gank already. Tom Kench already eaten up Frost. Tanic is the focus by one split focus, forcing 2 flashes out of Wildfire Eagles. Great gank from Hond.
Yep, he flashes in, forces both out. I'm not really sure if Varus needed the flash there, but... You know, it's better to be a little safe than sorry, but honestly, J4 can just circle now. He can literally just walk up around through river and come back in.
And now the second gank from Diligent Donut, forcing the flash out of Clearview. Ignite already used. One more hit, but the shield from Bellows Breath could be enough. TL Frost needs to get eaten up, uses the heal. Ignite burned from Rakan. And now there are pretty much no summoner spells on the entire map. Great early game agency from these junglers.
Yep. And Ornn survived with a shield out of his breath, but he can just TP back in the lane if he wants. Key spells up. Ziggs has both. So he does still have that cleanse. There's still an Ignite bottom lane for Tom Kench, which is matched by the heal on Xayah. What is interesting is now we're 3.5 minutes in. Jarvan just took his blue buff, which means second blue, if he's handing it off to the mid laner, is going to be offset. So that means Ziggs will have some time where he has a blue and Ahri doesn't, which should lead to a kind of push and health advantage for him.
It's a big wave crashing in the turret on the bottom side. Varus is going to be able to pick up the tail end of that. Should catch up in CS. So many ganks for no first blood just yet. We're tracking these junglers. Where do you think that they should be prioritizing now that all these summoner spells are down?
J4, if bot lane pushes out at all, Varus, Tom Kench, J4 should go bottom. Period. That's, you want to get the Xayah into position where she can carry. Ziggs still has both sums. He's going to be rough to gank. And Varus and Tom are both immobile. But they need to be far enough up. You saw last time he ganked, he didn't land the EQ, and Tom Kench was able to just eat and run. If they're not pushing, go for the Quinn. Quinn is squishy. She does have flash, but you can come through and burn that flash fairly easily. Though with her vault, she can get away from you. So really, I would look top or bot, but he's going mid. Good interrupt.
Great interrupt from Han, catching the Ziggs out of the satchel. I'd say a little bit of a misplay from Sushi Man, but a great play from Han, forcing both the summoner spells away from Ziggs. And now there's a flash on Quinn, but that's an ignite from Tom Kench. That's pretty much it as far as summoner spells go. Flash will be up for Kershey. Coming up in probably about 30 seconds, so we will get that back, and it doesn't look like Trundle will be able to take advantage of that unless he hurries.
Yep, flash on Ahri, and it looks like Ignite's going to be back up pretty soon. Oh, Ari's going in for a little bit of a steal, a couple of 2 or 3 of the little ones. But
Great
with
job
Ahri, with Ahri having flash and soon ult, and now Ziggs with no sums, that's an easy repeat gank for Jarvan now.
Yep.
He should go back mid.
I would expect Jarvan to be hanging around that mid lane. Ignite, flash available. The only thing is, Ahri a little bit low on mana, should be able to get a back off. Has the ultimate available. That's with the ultimate and flash, 4 dashes to potentially get in range of the the Ziggs rather. And we'll see what Jammin' J can do. In a sense, got an AP assassin. Quinn needs to be careful. Ornn baiting in, Han coming in for the gank. Flashed from the Quinn as well. So many flashes. So this is the most flashes burned I've ever seen in 6 minutes. But for nothing yet. Oh, huge mistake from Clearview. And Slim Frusa even given a little bit of BM icons there. Just missed the call of the Forge God, missed the headbutt, and
And
that
you
feels
don't
bad.
expect
But
that.
it's a pretty low cooldown. So maybe it was a zoning ultimate. Was trying to get the damage from the call. Didn't really need to headbutt him anywhere.
I mean, if he hit that, Quinn was most likely dead. J4 is right
Yeah.
there to follow it up with the EQ. It would have knocked her up. She would have been CC'd for 12 years and then would have been dead. And it looks like Ari might be looking to roam bottom or just dropping out some vision.
Yep. Good vision around the mid lane. Pink ward on the top side river bush. And now Ari not only has vision on the chicken camp, but also in the banana brush on the side of on the bottom side of the map. Rather, there's an air drake is the first dragon of this game. So I wouldn't expect much of a priority from this from the junglers, especially with how successful their ganks have been in getting summoner spells. All it takes is one repeat gank, one successful pull of the trigger by Ornn, and they may be able to get themselves first blood. This is a very long early game, as in terms of first blood not happening just yet.
Yeah, but it's interesting to note. So Quinn is a very big lane bully, particularly towards melees.
Mm-hmm.
But Ornn's up. It's about equal. Quinn will catch this wave. So Ornn's equal in CS, and Quinn hasn't really been able to bully him or roam. And like that's a huge, even with the missed call of Forge Charge, that's a huge plus in the side of Clearview on the Ornn here, is that he's held even, and he stopped Quinn from doing what she wants. And with that mini Thornmail finish, Quinn's going to start having a lot of issues harassing him, where she just starts taking damage back.
Yeah, it's super annoying. A great purchase from Ornn, knowing the matchup. Quinn going to be doing a lot of auto attacks, and she's going to be punished for it. That sucks. I played a Gnar into Ornn one time, and right as he got the Bramble Vest, there was pretty much nothing I could do because of so many auto attacks from the Gnar. I just like ripped myself open, and that feels bad for the Quinn, but Quinn does have the Cole and will eventually hit a spike to where it looks like she's going for Blade of the Rune King. So that's interesting.
Has to tank shot. She has no dual potential if she doesn't do that.
Exactly. And Slim, being a Quinn player, knows what items to go for, but we do typically see a rush of armor penetration, so that way Quinn has more assassination potential. But doesn't really even look to want to influence the rest of the map. Really is just trying to stay in, farm up, and kind of hit a mid-game power spike. A little bit more punish on the Clearview underneath the turret, but like we talked about, even just a little bit of damage back onto Slim, and a great trade from Clearview. Call of the Forge God coming through. Let's see if he gets the headbutt. He does, and he even gets the knockback. Bella's Breath might be enough. One more stack does it. First blood for Clearview.
What a play. Quinn got really cocky there. Like, you're poking him under tower. You're taking a tower shot. You know he can CC you for days. And Ornn's base damage is so high. And normally Quinn can try to sustain that out with a lifesteal, but you get grievous wounds from the Bramble Vest. Eagles is going to transition right into a dragon, though, now. J4's top lane. He got seen by one of those wards up there.
And, I mean, that's what you have to do in League of Legends. You see that your top laner is going to get solo killed. They make the call. They rotate to the dragon. They get something for themselves. So it's trades here. Top side of the map wins with a kill. Bottom side gets the air drake, and that's not something that's a huge priority for them, but they will be able to roam faster with the Quinn if she does end up hitting that mid-game power spike.
Yep, and you see some CS leads starting to build for Eagles in the bot lane and the jungle. Mid lane, Ari looks like she's starting to bully out Ziggs a little bit. Ziggs is having to sit back a lot to avoid any chance of a charm. And really, that kind of contributes to an overall roughly equal gold count, even with the kill.
Pretty much even. First brick's usually the big one. There might be a fight here. They're on to Trundle. So much damage already. Cataclysm just bursts out Diligent Donut. He even popped the ultimate, but it was not enough to save him. Great pick from Ari and J4.
Yep. I don't know if J4 really needed to dunk that. I think they would have gotten the kill anyway off the Ari Ignite and Q, but It's good to secure. It would have ideally gone on to Ari to continue a snowball there, but it helps J4 catch up now, so he should be roughly equal to, yep, he's equal to Trundle's gold. And really, the only difference is a couple hundred gold here and there, 200 on Varus, 200 on Tom, and that's it.
Yeah, that one feels good for the confidence. You know, you may not need to pull the trigger and dunk on that one, but it feels really good when you do. And the J4 has been influencing the map very well. Seen at least 5 ganks so far this game, and with a little bit more gold in his pockets, will be able to continue to influence the lanes and maybe provide even more damage to help get these laners ahead. So not too bad allowing the gold to get onto J4, as he may be able to influence the rest of the map a little bit better than Ari can. But Ari, also pretty good roamer, so gold would be good in anybody's pockets, and they're just glad to have it in their hands. Meanwhile, though, I feel like Quinn has lost this matchup in lane and needs to start going somewhere else, because she's hitting passive procs, the Harrier, over and over again, getting these autos through, and Clearview, it's like nothing ever happened.
He's got Bramble, he's got Glacial, he has a Tabby, he has Doran Shield. Like, there's just no damage. Goodbye, Ziggs.
Cosmic going for the engage, knocks up, but does not hit with a ton. Sushiman actually able to get out of there, and Diligent Donut picks up a kill onto Cosmic, but Call of the Forge God, Clearview doesn't even want to headbutt it again. He's shown twice. He is at a 33% headbutt rate, but
that one was intentional, I think, though.
Onto the Ziggs, yeah, because it was the damage is all he need. Charm from the Ari lands, and a big dunk from J4 kills Trundle once again. Frost needed to be saved from Tom Kench and is saved, but it looks like the kills just keep going over to Raging Arcanists. They aren't getting much in terms of gold just yet, but they are just continually feeding these kills onto J4 and Ornn. Now that Ari going in and picking up a kill for herself onto the Varus, and Varus a little bit greedy, staying under the turret. First brick going over to Raging Arcanist, and that will net them a 1,000 gold lead.
If you're gonna be Varus and you have almost no mana, you do have flash, but if you're gonna walk up like that into an Ari or even a J4, either one can jump on you. You gotta have Tom Kench right next to you.
Yep.
So actually, while Varus was a little greedy there, I put the blame on the support. Like, Tom's job is to sit in Varus's back pocket and eat him when he does something dumb.
Yep.
Like, it's like playing. That's how I climbed. Got to Diamond playing Ivern. My entire job was to stop my ADC from dying when they were dumb. Tom,
yep.
Exact same thing.
It's really awesome that Riot has made 3 of those champions, right? I would consider Braum, Ivern, and Tom Kench, and Janna too, those sort of champions. Not even the entire support class is really built directly on saving 80 carries, but those champions specifically are. And Tom Kench, like you said, not really doing his job there. If the 80 carry dies, it's a little bit his fault and a little bit your fault. And right there, the bottom lane just wasn't communicating well enough to allow the Varus to live. And that's another kill for Raging Arcanists, who have started to build a lead.
Yep, and those kills are going onto Ornn and Jarvan, which is not great from a damage point of view, but from a tank point of view. Jarvan still does some damage, and he can just jump in now. And bot lane has to back off. Ari's missing. She's about to walk over a ward. They need to leave. And it looks like, yeah, they're going to back out.
Ari's still looking for something here on the bottom side of the map. She used the blast cone to get behind and is not spotted just yet, I don't think.
Nope. If they walk up, she's going to go. Yep, she's going.
Yep, Ari's jamming Jay right behind Cosmic, going for the engagement. Not Tanic has has swallowed up the Varus and may be okay for now. Featherstorm used, and the Ignite was ticking, but not enough damage to take out the Tom Kench. And very close, but that time, Tanic doing a great job saving his 80 carry and getting out.
They really wanted the kill there because Dragon's going to spawn in 3 seconds.
Jim and Jay so close to getting taken out by the Mega Inferno Bomb, and even forced to flash away from the bouncing bomb. J4 here, trying to do a little bit of damage, but Trundle is here to support as well. That looks so annoying to deal with for the Quinn in the top lane. just slowly poking away at Ornn, really not getting through. Ornn building so much armor.
Yep.
2-0 and 0. That's rough.
It'll be interesting when Ornn and Quinn leave that lane because Ziggs and Varus both have a lot of magic damage. The Trundle ult is magic damage. And so far, Ornn is a little low on health and also has no MR. And so you can't really get away with both of those versus an AP champion. Like, you can substitute MR by buying a bunch of health. He hasn't bought any health yet. All of his items give armor and no health.
And now Slim Frusa needs to be a little bit careful, locked up underneath the turret for a second call. The Forge God coming through for Clearview. Headbutt lands it, flashes forward, goes for the big pile of stone. But Bella's breath is going to be enough to take this one out. Slim Frusa gets stabbed with the Dark Star J4 standard, and now they will push in the top lane.
Yeah, he dropped the standard there just to get the assist off of the attack speed steroid, but then he's like, wait, he might actually get away here. Let me just take that kill real fast.
Yeah, let me grab that. Boom. And that's what Honda's been doing this game. 3-0 and 2, 83% kill participation on himself, and that's what you want your jungler to do. I talked about how Raging Arcanists need to have more agency in the early game. They need to make more plays, and they have. Rift Herald summoned on the mid lane. Now Ari going for a kill on the Sushi Man. He is absolutely popped, but the Rift Herald takes out tier 2. So that's 2 turrets in response for this. Another Air Drake picked up too, and the objective focus from Wildfire Eagles coming through once again.
Yep. Right now they just equalize the tower game, pretty much equalize the gold. J4 is in trouble, but he make it out from the vault.
That was close. The Ignite used by Slim once again. A little bit of push from Frost. And now we'll see what it's like for Clearview, who is 3 levels ahead of Frost. Tanic shows up. He's getting licked down. Let's see if we can get a big eat from Tom Kench. Clearview ignited. A lot of damage. And that's a shutdown. Gold going over to Tom Kench. That's the AP damage he wasn't expecting.
He got locked up a little too hard there. I think Trundle came in from a blind spot, and with the Trundle pillar, he wasn't able to retreat back. If Trundle wasn't there, he can poke and leave.
Yeah, ult used from Trundle to help sap out some of those resistance, make him a little bit more squishy to deal with. 167 CS on the Bears, 165 on Quinn. These 2 marksmen really farming well, and if they play these fights good, can have a huge impact on it. Kershey being the sole DPS member. I mean, it's just a lot of damage coming out from the 2 marksmen plus the Ziggs. You need to be careful as J4 comes in. Han misses the entire engage, and a turret is still there. He gets taken out by the Ziggs for a little bit of over-aggression. It looks like Raging Arcanist maybe trying to throw a little bit.
That was just a miscommunication. And you're gonna die
Hershey
for it.
Taken out by Frost. Use the Feather Storm.
The tower, the wave died, so that tower was 1 auto away if the wave was still there. And so the plan was you have Xayah kill the tower, and then J4 goes in for the dive. But then the wave got insta cleared. The last auto from Xayah doesn't kill the tower, and now J4 is just kind of stuck there.
Feels bad, man. Talked about the charm going on to Slim Frusa. And that was almost enough damage to kill him. Probably would have been if the Tom Kench didn't go for the eat. Jam and Jay once again trying to get the charm on to the Varus. I'm getting distracted and annoyed by Slim's use of the mastery as well.
Yeah, Varus used his ult there. Missed it. Ari dodged. And so...
The hard one to hit when she has ultimate charges available.
Are you getting an invisible Trundle pillar too? Because I'm seeing it pop up for a second, then it goes all ghosty.
Yeah, I see the ground, like the ripples on the ground, but I don't see the actual pillar portion.
Yeah, me neither. So we're gonna visual bug. Baron's up. I don't think either team goes for Baron right now. They're too close. They're too even, and anybody who gets caught in that pit is going to be in trouble. Jarvan is going very damage heavy, which I guess he can with the Ornn being there to tank, but you know, he got Warrior Enchant, he got a Tiamat, he's building towards a Black Cleaver as well. Like that's a lot of damage from J4. It's a very heaviest damage build in comparison to normal.
My favorite part about shoutcasting and broadcasting to Twitch is always the Twitch chat, and a great suggestion from the Twitch chat is to take a shot every time Quinn spams mastery. And
No.
if this was a weekend game, I'd be all for it. That would be a very, very destructive game for your liver. We may have to try it another time. Today, though, just have to deal with it. It's 7-4, 22 minutes into the game almost, and Raging Arcanists with a little, have fallen a little bit behind of Wildfire Eagles, and it's off the back of Wildfire Eagles' objective focus.
Yeah, I don't think I can mute emotes in spectator mode either.
Yeah, I don't. That would be nice to have if you're trying to run like a BM free stream or something like that. I'm not much of a BM free guy, but we'll see what Clearview can do here. He gets the headbutt, knocks on to Frost, but the rest of the team
is off to the side. No eat.
A ult from Diligent Donut, flash from Varus, but the disengage is successful, and Wildfire Eagles did not fancy that fight. They're able to get out.
And Tom Kench was out of position and didn't matter. I wonder why they didn't try to hard engage on him, because he was by himself and out in front, and that did stop him from blocking the engage. Meanwhile, they're just going to rush down mid lane here.
If they can get some stops on the backs, which actually they have, 2 backs already stopped by the Quinn, who is just floating around, almost stopped the third one. It's just Xayah. This could be an inhibitor. Great macro play from Wildfire Eagles. Xayah here trying to defend Diligent Donut, gets the chomp, and that's an inhibitor destroyed. Now let's see what Raging Arcanists can get in return. They have a pick onto Tanic. He's using the gray health. Mega Inferno Bomb picks up Cosmic. Huge damage. Jam and Jay trying to get on to the Quinn, but eaten up. Tanic all the way out. Slim all the way out. Double kill for Varus. Continues to go forward. Hits the Chains of Corruption. Should be another easy kill for him, but Sushi Man takes it, and that is a 4-for-0 with an inhibitor.
Yeah,
Brutal.
They kind of half-assed 2 things there instead of whole-assing 1 thing. They should have, as soon as the back started getting interrupted and the inhib was gone, you say, well, we're going to pull the trigger on who's here. We know you're missing a lot of your team. We're just going to fight you. And they didn't, and then they kind of tried to collapse on it later, but that gave the pushers mid lane time to just rotate in. And so you lose the third Cloud. They're really fast now. They're already out-rotating you. They're going to rotate even faster. You lose the inhib tower. Baron is now a very real play for them. It set them behind a lot there, that rotation to bot lane.
Brutal. I mean, I believe it was General George S. Patton who said, you gotta make a decisive call. You can't have split decision or else you're gonna lose your inhibitor.
I don't know if he said exactly that, but
that's the full quote. Is that not in your history book? I feel like it is.
I mean, it's a pretty standard thing for people to say. With a shot caller, it's better to just listen and do a single call and not try to split out. But I don't know if Patton said that. I mean, he might have. Apparently, they had DJ Khaled playing at the Overwatch tournament a couple of
That's
bit
right.
ago.
Yeah, I read an article about that today.
Apparently, he was terrible.
Yeah, nobody, probably people didn't. They're just like, dude, what do you do?
Nobody cares.
Yeah, I'm just trying to watch some Overwatch. I'm trying to Overwatch here. I'm overwatching 3 air drakes. That's going to be a super fast team to make these rotations and continue their siege. They've had objective focus this entire series, and honestly, it's been impressive. Wildfire Eagles just take the Ziggs, they put them near a turret, and they let them take out the turret. They get the objective, and they walk away. And both drafts for Raging Arcanists have been around engaging, have been around picks, and they have failed at engaging and failed at getting these picks. And it's good that it's early on in the season because they can watch these VODs and they can see where things went wrong. But I truly think that Wildfire Eagles has had full control over this series after the 20-minute mark.
Yep, and there'll be a rematch in week 8. But if
Potential
they
pick onto Diligent Donuts,
he's gonna
go
have
ahead.
to run. He's gonna have to run. Yeah, no way. If they kind of play the slow game like they did last game, though, they are neither ahead enough nor the right comp to really do that. Like, they need to push down the gas pedal and get going, or they will eventually end up in a spot where they can lose, because they are very fightable right now.
Mm-hmm. Slim picking up a quick red trinket And now Call of the Forge God coming through for clear view. Headbutt knocks up the Tom Kent. She is not the best target. Huge burst of damage already from the bomb. Mega Inferno is enough to take out one. Trundle picks up the second kill of the fight. J4 onto the back line, but can't do the damage. Hershey left alone with Diligent Donut. And unfortunately for him, is losing that to the save retreat. Jammin' J picks up a kill on to Tom Kench on the backside. Nice pickup for him, but 3 kills for Wildfire Eagles. They should be able to knock down this second tier turret. Slim going aggressive, picking up a kill for himself. The inhibitor was down in the mid lane, and so the Nexus turrets are actually being knocked on by super minions right now. I say that Wildfire Eagles could go and take out this Baron for free, but it looks like they just want to knock down the inhibitor turret on the top side of the map. They don't have any minions, and so it took them a little bit longer. Now every member
That's that
below
satchel
half
charge.
health. And yeah, the satchel charge really helpful in that situation. They're going to get some backs. They have a ton of gold. One Nexus turret was destroyed by the minions. The second one knocked down to about 1/3, and an exposed inhibitor on the top side of the map. Wildfire Eagles running away with the game.
And there you see the loss of the ult from Ahri. So as she tried to pick off Trundle there in the tri-bush and she had to ult away, she didn't have ult for that fight. So you saw at the end of the fight, Ahri was full health, almost full mana. She just couldn't get in. She didn't have ult. She didn't have the opportunity to dash in and take somebody out. And that might have changed the fight. A couple of people got really low. Ahri's damage is pretty high right now, and she could have just killed a person or two, and that fight goes entirely differently.
Hond looking for an engage, missing though. Flag and drag, not exactly what he wants. Something that happened in that fight is Sushi Man once again just destroying the backline. The bouncing bomb popped Kershey and Cosmic for about half health, and then he threw out the Mega Inferno to zone them completely, or else they would have died. And it was ridiculous to see because it was from over the wall, and there really wasn't much Kershey and Cosmic could do. After that bomb hits, the rest of the fight is a win for Wildfire Eagles. They had the damage, they have the advantage in items, about an 8,000 gold lead, and can pretty much do whatever they want. Quinn super speeding in to look to get somewhere. Still Wildfire Eagles not caring about the Baron, just caring about these structures, and it's a 4-1-0 split right now.
And I'm not sure why Rakan is not building a locket into this kind of burst.
First game either.
Yeah, into this kind of burst, he needs it.
Here comes the engage. Call of the Forge God, good. Lands onto Tanic, forcing a flash from Tom Kench. Quinn is split pushing, trying to get the inhibitor in the mid lane. J4 locked up within himself, but getting a flash from Diligent Donut. Jammin' J trying to get the damage on, but the Ziggs and the rest of the siege is fine. Here comes Slim looking to pick something off on the backside, floating away. Inhibitor down in the mid lane. The rest of the team looking to pick up this inhibitor in the top lane. And a big wave stacking on the bottom side. Nice engage from Cosmic. Forces the E out of Rakan. Mega Inferno Bomb knocks Kershey and Cosmic down to about half health. Featherstorm keeps him alive for a second. About 1/3 health on everyone. But the objective here, the inhibitor, has been taken out. And they will rotate to the bottom side of the map. Maybe a dragon, maybe a wave. They don't like Baron. I don't get it, but they're winning the game, so I can't argue with it.
Yeah, I really feel like right now that Tom Kench is just they're trying really hard to force a fight. Arcanists is, and Tom Kench is just stopping them every time because they'll get damage under a priority target. Tom will eat them, and they don't have enough damage to just burst through Tom Kench. And then meanwhile, Ziggs and mostly Ziggs just does a ton of damage to them, and no locket can't really shield it out. I do really feel like a locket, either Rakan, maybe even J4, even Ornn for that matter. Like any of them should have picked up a locket. It's probably too late now, but that shield would have really helped in these team fights where they're all clumped up and getting whacked by the AoE.
Well, I mean, the Mega Inferno Bomb is very easily timed for the Locket. A lot of supports, there's skill expression and Locket usage because when you use the shield, you have the ability to block so much damage for your team, definitely enough to turn a team fight. and it's so telegraphed that it's pretty easy for you to pull off a good locket in these team fights. And it's unfortunate that nobody's picked that one up just yet, but that's just another symptom of this lost game for Dragons, for Wildfire Eagles. They have a huge gold lead. Baron's available for them if they ever want to take it, but both inhibitors, top and mid, are taken down, and they have grouped up as 5 in the bottom lane looking at this tier 2.
Yep, and I'm guessing Raging Arcanists, based on what they've done before, are going to pick another fight with Ornal.
Yep.
Maybe not here, maybe at Inhib, but that's at this point, I mean, that's what their comp is designed to do. I don't think they can hold, so yep, here it comes.
Here it is. Clearview getting the knockup onto the Trundle, but Trundle sapping away the resistances. Great focus, though, from Raging Arcanist onto the Trundle, but a huge double kill from Ziggs. He's going to keep going. That's a triple kill for Ziggs. Trundle picks up the 4th of the fight, and now it's just Xayah limping away from that one. Wildfire Eagles. They're showing where Hotel California is. It's right about where the Nexus is, taking down Raging Arcanist in 2 quick games.
Yeah, that's that locket. A locket right there would have turned that fight, because they were doing fine. They had Trundle picked, then the explosive bomb pops down, somebody dies, and Trundle just immediately gets back percentage of the max health of enemies near him. So he just immediately got a bunch of health back, and then at that point, couldn't kill him. Let's take a look at what the damage chart is. It should be a fun one.
Yep, Ziggs on top of it, followed by Quinn. Ari did well for herself, and the Xayah too. I mean, both fighting the mid laner and the AD carry, doing a good job putting out damage in the fights, but unfortunately just couldn't stay alive long enough. Nope. And the Ziggs and Quinn ripped right through them. Fantastic sieging from Wildfire Eagles.
Yep, game 1 was a little more of a kind of, I'd almost call it a cheese pushing comp. It's not really, it was meta for a patch. Right now, the meta is switching a little bit back towards more traditional ADCs, but like obviously it still works. And then second game was much more of a kind of team fighting comp, and Ziggs in both games was probably the MVP. So that was game 1 and game 2. Wildfire Eagles has taken their second game of the week, and they're now 1-1, and Raging Arcanist has a chance to come back later this week against One Trick Turtles, which may or may not be casted. I'm not fully sure at this point. So yeah, so this is Dietvert and Eki. I think we are going to sign off now, and thanks for watching.
Yeah.